Hey all. So War 11 here, starting off with this Korg. Obviously, I do not have a true Korg counter on this team, um, but there were enough other fights that I had to worry about later on that I decided to take this with Photon. I knew it would work. Like this is a path splitting placement for Korg, right? There's nothing here that really makes him worse. You just want to not die to his thorns. And therefore, using somebody who has only energy attacks is a pretty good idea. Now, it does take a while to break his shield, but the Purify chance only gets so high. This is a 7-star. Even if this were a SIG 200 6-star and we were having trouble getting the shield down, we would just build to the special 3 because that would get rid of the rock shield all at once, and then we could more reliably do damage. But as you saw, even that isn't necessary. We're getting close to going into pure light form here, and hopefully we should have the shield down at some point. I think I was hoping to get it down before the special 2 at all. Yeah, there we go. I definitely could have just thrown the special 2 there and we'd be fine. I have no idea why I did that. That is, I think, the only place I get hit in this fight, and it was completely unnecessary. But there we go. Things are going perfectly fine. Again, he doesn't play into the shatter part of the node. There's no nullify. This is just a big Korg, and not even that big because it's the first fight on the path. Very simple diversity fight for Photon. We move on to Mojo here. And while I could have taken this with Photon, it is a Sadist Mojo. And therefore, all of the debuffs that she puts on the opponent mean that even a single degen could have caused some real problems and cost me quite a few items. So that is part of the reason I took Photon with Korg, because that allowed me to bring Titania for this Mojo and just completely avoid the problem. I'm going to play slow in some places where, if this were Battlegrounds, I would not. But that's because I am just completely avoiding the special 2. I'm expecting that I will have a good chunk of debuffs on him at any given time, and therefore a single missed dex on the special 2 could easily spell the end of the fight with a giant boosted degen. So why risk it at all? Titania doesn't really close the fight out against Mojo with the special 3 anyway because of his unique special 3 animation and how it drops her in the middle of the map. So if we're already not going to get the best thing that we want, why bother rushing at all? See, right here, I probably could have closed it out, but I'm just waiting. I know I'm going to lose some Furies this way. Fight's going to take longer, but we are not messing around with the special 2. See, here's another special 1, and we close it out. Like I've said a few times this season, there are fights, especially in this tactic, where you do need to know when you're supposed to close it out and just commit. That fight was not one of them. It was mine to lose. We move on to section 2 here, and we are taking Hazard Shift. And we're going to start here with Shocker. I've mentioned before, Dani is a little spooky in this tactic because her animations do not lend themselves particularly well to intercepting. I had that one spooky fight on the Scared Stiff Miniboss. This is also power focus too, and so we're going to be careful here. Yep, good. We get the taunt immediately, and now we bait out this special. Because while I can probably come close to getting the full dex, I don't want to chance it. So now we have these Daunted on us, but she doesn't yet have a bar, and so we're just waiting out the bleed phase, and there, I see my opportunity for an intercept. Definitely a bit of a spooky situation with Power Focus 2. That is the risk of Dani here. You see me just dex the last hit. I'm decently comfortable with her dex, but I was very clearly taking no chances. We are back in the bleed phase, and so I'm just waiting. And the main reason I'm waiting is because I know I have enough charges to close this fight out. I just need to wait for this opening right here, and then I need to push to my special 2, and now this fight is over. Little bit stressful, but definitely way easier than the Bubble Shield one, largely just because of the lower health pool and how we can close it out that way. We move on to Wiccan here, and you are going to see me come very, very close to making a mess of this. So, if you're listening and not watching, you might want to watch this one. Photon is an incredibly good counter for Wiccan in general and on this path, because she is bleed immune. She doesn't need to worry about his spells auto-completing, for the most part, because she's immune to neutralize, which is usually the most problematic one, and so she just needs to try and knock him down to avoid this flame spell. It is going to be a little close, but that is why I throw this right here. And unfortunately, I do miss it, right? Like, so now we have this passive Incinerate on us. It is just a consequence of the fact that Wiccan is looking for actually being knocked down and not the final hit of a special or heavy. It's working against us here. We go into Pure Light form here just to do a bit more damage. That was a conscious choice. I'm totally fine with it. The tempo of this fight is okay. We don't get the pause off of that special one, which is kind of annoying because that's clearly just how Wiccan's animations work and how quick his reaction is. And so it's harder for me to get this damage uptime than I thought. And then this happens. Honestly, I should have closed out the fight in general. I should have used my striker into a special 1, and it would have been done, and I would have had this at like 85%. But there's what we're talking about again, right? I should have closed it out. I pushed him to a special 2. The only reason to push him to a special 2 is if I'm going to close it out, right? Otherwise, you just bait another special 1 and then hit him, right? I don't know what I was thinking there. It doesn't make any sense. If you're going to push him to the special 1, you have to commit to the closeout, and I did not. Very nearly paid for it. I guess literally paid for it because potions, but thankfully did not give up an attack bonus. And now we have Apocalypse here, again with Shocker. I've taken this before. I've taken a number of other fights here before. The goal here is hopefully to not get intercepted the way that we did last time and accidentally pushed to our special 3. There. He didn't really want to play nice, but still better than last time. So we got the special 1 off, but unfortunately, I, for some reason, dexed out of a single hit of it. I wish I could say that it was to manage my own power and ramp a little bit more before the special 2, but I don't think that I needed it. So I'm just going to call it for the mistake that it was, and we go ahead and close out here. Good old 252,000 heavy. Half charge. So after that, we're going to go ahead and move on, and our next fight is going to be Longshot here on Hazard Shift Bleed Shock again. Like we talked about, Photon is very good for Hazard Shift Bleed Shock. She has the energy resistance to deal with the shock. She is bleed immune. She's also generally a pretty good counter for Longshot because she places so many non-damaging debuffs, and she is literally built to help counter Mystics on Conflictor, which is one of the main threats of this node. So we are trying to manage our power here a little bit. We are also baiting special 1 extremely aggressively, because even in Pure of Heart, Longshot is not going to kill us with the special 1. It does instant bleeds, and we are bleed immune. But Photon's energy resistance is not going to save us if he throws that special 2 with Pure of Heart. And while Photon is solid at managing his karma, if you're not really focusing on parrying a bunch, which is a little bit tricky on this node, then you're not going to keep him out of Pure of Heart. That's just something to accept. And so we're being careful. The good news is that her Petrify, in addition to dealing with Conflictor, does manage the power that Longshot gains from having bad karma on you, and so he is not his normal super obnoxious self, he's just medium obnoxious. We bait one more special one, and now we have the ability to close this out. Important to note, if that special 2 had not finished, I would not have been able to rely on my Untouchable afterwards because Longshot special 1 cannot miss. Good thing to keep in mind. Anyway, our next fight is a Werewolf by night, and prepare to watch me completely forget how to fight him. I'm just going to spoil it. This is a good fight for Photon. It's not a great fight. She handles his healing well. She handles Conflictor very well. It's good. What she does not handle is his Unstoppable. Some of you may already know where this is going. So that right there hurts, but that's not a huge problem. That just stings, right? Missed dexes happen. The prowess makes it worse, but you can see we're not taking too much damage here. The ruptures are falling off. Inequity is helping us out. So we hit there, disrupt the howl. It looks like our opponent isn't even running recovery because we were zeroing out their regen, but there's where I make mistake number 1. I punish a special in which he goes unstoppable. I have no idea why I did. It is very obviously his main threat. That is the point of using an awakened werewolf. And then I think what happened there is I was very clearly thinking, all right, don't punish the specials, don't punish the specials. Oh, this one's a heavy. Go. Nope. It's specials and heavy. No idea why I did that. Well, I do have some idea. And it's basically what I'm going to talk about throughout this next fight, because rank 2 Titania is strong, and while this is definitely not what I would send the first time, she's going to get it done. I'm going to be careful. But basically, a thing that I've discovered about myself this season is that with where I am right now, Saturday wars seem to be extra dangerous. They just are. That's something that I need to be careful with. That's something that I need to know about myself. I think I've died 4 times this season. One of them was before I really understood the tactic and to a less than ideal matchup. The other 3 were all on Saturday Wars. See, there I make the same mistake again. And that's not to say that I had gone out and got wasted or anything, right? That's not what this is. But something about the weekend and the way family commitments line up, because I had family commitments on both of those, things just seem to line up so that it is harder for me to get in the right headspace for war, is really what it comes down to. I didn't feel very focused for either of those wars, and it was reflected in my performance. And so that is something that I'm going to have to solve in future seasons, because the Saturday Wars are here to stay. That is generally better than me trying to rush the fights Friday night or, God forbid, Sunday morning. So I'm going to have to figure it out. Just saying this out loud to commit to it on the internet, I think what I probably need to do is set aside some time to literally meditate before my wars on Saturday, clear my mind. Yeah, because I think it is entirely a focus problem. And I can fix that. Hope you guys enjoyed this one, that aside. And look out for the War 12 video, which will also be my rewards openings, because War 12 is only 3 fights. I think they're 3 fairly fun fights, but yeah, I will definitely be pairing that with some rewards openings, so I'll see y'all then. Till then, thanks so much for watching, and take care.